Let me just give you some context for why I'm laughing. A few years ago, there was a Centre Parks. I was on holiday at Settlement Parks. Assault was against a child that's close to me. I can't identify the child or tell you or go into any more detail because victims are forever protected from being identified. I'd be committing an offence. I'm a bit lost here. Anyway, I'd be committing an offence. So let me just tell you what Mike did at that time. So against a close to me, Mike used his platform to belittle it, to mock it, and to say that it was fabricated and that the child was lying in order to promote my racist agenda. That's what Mike did. So of course, I'm very angry with Mike. I think it's outrageous behaviour. I think it's immoral behaviour. I think he's a scumbag. That's what I think, yeah? So, if you see me laughing, I wouldn't usually laugh at someone losing their job. I wouldn't usually laugh at... I don't believe in cancel culture, but Mike's an arsehole, yeah? Mike belittled against a child that I know, yeah? And he done it out of his hatred for me and his allegation that I'm a racist. So now see Mike lose his job for the allegation of being a racist, the full 360, yeah. I don't shed any tears. I'm not sympathetic to the man at all. He's an arsehole. He's continually used his platform to attack me as a racist with zero evidence. Yet, look, there's evidence against Mike. Yeah, I don't know how much evidence. Imagine I've been covertly recorded for years. I've done hundreds of demonstrations. I've had cameras on me for years. There's nothing on me as a racist. Yeah, nothing. Yet, Mike. Imagine all the cameras have been on him for all those years. So yeah, Mike. You should, I don't shed any tears from Mike. That's a bit of context so people understand why I'm laughing and mocking him. Because I'm still pissed off about what he did.
In a fiery new video, British activist and commentator Tommy Robinson has broken his silence over talk radio host Mike Graham's recent downfall, offering a deeply personal and unusually emotional explanation for why he's laughing. At the broadcaster's misfortune, Robinson opened the video with an uncharacteristic preface. Let me just give you some context for why I'm laughing. What followed was not political rhetoric, but a personal account of a painful incident involving a child close to him, protected under victim anonymity laws. According to Robinson, while he was on holiday at Centre Parks several years ago, a serious allegation arose, one that involved a minor. Bound by law, he refrained from disclosing details, but made it clear the event was traumatic and deeply personal. At the time, Robinson said, Mike Graham used his platform to belittle it, mock it, and claim the child was lying, framing the situation as part of Robinson's supposed racist agenda. Robinson described this as immoral and disgusting, accusing Graham of exploiting a child's suffering simply to attack him politically. The irony, he argued, is striking. A man who repeatedly branded him a racist with zero evidence is now being condemned under the same label. Look, Robinson added pointedly, there's evidence against Mike. There's never been any against me. Not after years of cameras, recordings, demonstrations, nothing. Robinson's comments cut deeper than mere schadenfreude. They raise questions about the moral opportunism of public figures who weaponize accusations for political gain. When Graham mocked Robinson's ordeal, it was under the guise of anti-racism. Now that same narrative loop has come back to devour him. This episode is more than a media spat. It's a revealing moment in the modern British commentariat, where moral posturing often masks personal vendettas, and the cycle of accusation, cancellation, and humiliation continues to spin. For Tommy Robinson, the man long painted as Britain's pariah, this was less about victory than about vindication.
The fact is, when we drill down into everything, and of course there's great embarrassment about this one migrant who's been returned, who's come back again. The numbers are where they are. The fact is, this government just doesn't have a solution to the small boat crisis in any meaningful way. It's got lots of little incremental changes that they hope together in the round in a few years' time might bring the numbers down. But really, when it comes to any big set-piece policy, they don't have anything. And of course it was, when the government first started, smash the gangs. This is what we heard from Sir Keir and all of his ministers repeatedly, was smash the gangs. When they realised, actually, what most of us who've been monitoring this crisis for years knew, that there was always law enforcement were always going after the criminal gangs, and they're just saying they're going after them and smashing them. It's not actually going to really make any difference. Now that that's dawned on them, that we hear very little about smash the gangs. It's all about the international partnerships with the likes of France, of course. But even that is just a pathetically small number of migrants who are being returned to France, and it doesn't look, whatever the government says, like it's going to ramp up to anything very significant.
Well, it's a mess, isn't it? Because on the one hand, the government says no one should come across by small boat. This is not the right thing to do. You're breaking the law, you're jumping the queue, all of that. That's what they say. But then what happens when someone comes across by small boat? Welcome to the United Kingdom. Here's your hotel. Here's your discount spa entry and your discount e-bike and everything else that all these councils give these illegal migrants. I mean, at what point do we start to think that actually what matters here is not what the government says, but what the government does? That's the impression the migrants get.
Well, that's certainly one of the pull factors, absolutely, is what's on offer to them when they come over. I think one of the difficulties where we find ourselves in terms of both the way that migrants are treated when they come here and the apparent inability to return migrants to their home countries or a third country is actually because of issues around where we find ourselves as a developed nation with international norms and a class of people, be they in the civil service or in the court systems, wherever, not necessarily wanting to play along with what the government ministers of the day want to do, which is to get more robust with those migrants and return them to their countries, deny them the possibility of being able to claim asylum here and send them either, as I say, off to a third country or back to their own country. They're finding themselves coming up against roadblocks at every step.